And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Delvecchio here, specializing in home care, downsizing, and the senior living industry. Thank you so much for tuning in on a Sunday here, Grand Prix weekend. And congrats again to Max Verstappen. A couple of people have texted in. Lewis Hamilton made it to the top 5 in a long time, and good old Canadian Lance Stroll made it in 7th place. Pretty impressive. He's been struggling to break the top 10, so he did it here in Canada. Good for you, Lance. All right. I very often get asked about, am I going to run out of money as we age? The cost of aging is a topic that is brought up quite often in my world. And in fact, my wife and I do many presentations and seminars around the city on a vast array of topics regarding the aging process and life transitions. This past week, we actually did 2 separate presentations. One was at an annual general meeting of a nonprofit organization. Quite interesting. Many members of this nonprofit were in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and the topic was navigating the aging process, downsizing, and maximizing the value of your home. Lots of information there. But the other one was quite interesting, something that we hadn't done for a while. It was with a whole team of financial planners at Scotiabank to discuss the cost of aging. And there were many questions that were brought up. And in fact, one of the regional managers approached me afterwards and said, Matt, this is a topic we hear about from our clients. The general public wants to know about the cost of aging. Wouldn't it be a good topic for your show? And I said, you know what? Absolutely, let's do that. And so that's where we are today. And I wanted to address this topic of cost of aging and share with you some of the most common questions I get from the general public. So, first of all, the reason why we're getting more and more questions about aging is because our population is aging. The boomers are getting older, and it's happening quickly. In fact, over the next 20 years, there will be a 50% increase in our population of those 65 years and older. And so, what is the cost of aging? And I'm going to do my best here to break it down. If we compare aging in place, in other words, that means staying at home, and then I'm also going to share what it's going to cost if you were to live in a senior living community, sometimes referred to as RPAs, or retirement homes, and long-term care homes such as CHSLDs. And I'm going to share some costs both in the public sector and in the private sector. And by the way, if you have any questions whatsoever about anything related to public or private home care or long-term care, please text me at 514-800. That's 514-800 if you had any questions whatsoever about home care or senior living in the public or private sector. It'd be my pleasure to respond to those texts. All right. I think we can all agree that most people want to age in place at home for as long as possible. Now, in order for that to happen, there will obviously be some costs incurred. And on today's show, I only want to focus on the financial costs. And I say that specifically because I've discussed many times here on Life Unrehearsed about the non-financial costs, such as caregiver burnout, the pressure put on spouses, and the sandwich generation, that being the adult children who have their own children to worry about. These are all real non-financial costs. And many times these types of costs weigh much heavier than the financial costs. But today, the focus will be on the dollars, the actual true dollars and cents, as you're listening to Matt Delvecchio here on Life Unrehearsed and discussing the cost of aging. So let's start with aging at home. In order to age in place longer, you're going to need to adapt to your changing needs, and you might want to have some additional services in and around the house. Very common ones, obviously, would be cleaning services, landscaping, and snow removal to help you age at home better. But you also might want to make some adjustments around the house. So, for example, I'm going to give some minor but important modifications that aren't going to break the bank, and things like installing grab bars in the bathroom. This is the highest risk for slips and falls are indeed in the bathroom. And no, that towel rack is not a grab bar. Don't grab on that towel rack. You are going to go flying. So we're seeing a lot of that being done. Improve your lighting. especially at night. Even a simple night light in the corridor, if you've got to go to the washroom in the middle of the night, lighting is important. How about installing some handrails on the stairwells to help you if you've got some mobility issues? I'm seeing a lot of anti-slip material in the bathtub being done, and either removing those mats and pull mats altogether, or if you insist on having them, how about putting those what they call it, the two-sided gripper tape on these rugs to maintain that solid rug instead of slips and falls there. I'm also seeing raised toilets and shower benches are gaining in popularity. These are minor investments, even sometimes supplied by the CLSC. And I'm seeing a lot of families investing in those medical alert systems, those pendants or bracelets if you were to happen to fall, or even if there's some wandering episodes with GPS in them. That's getting popular. That's going to range in cost anywhere from about $35 all the way up to about $90 per month, but probably one of the best investments that you can do. Now, there are some significant investments that you can do at home to age at home better. For example, chairlifts, just to help you up and down these stairs if stairs are becoming that difficult to navigate. Very expensive, mind you, but we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of conversion of bathtubs into stand-up showers. That's also getting popular. And even for the outside, if you have a wheelchair, then ramps are becoming popular on the outside, either front entrance or back entrance. But at one point in time, you may require some additional home care services, and that's where you have to rely on the CLSC or privately. I'm going to talk a little bit about both. And so the first step to try to get home care services through the CLSC, which is recommended because it's free, but it's a process. And for those that have experienced that type of evaluation, which is what you need to do, you've got to get an evaluation so that someone can come in and do an assessment at home, and eventually you may get some services such as weekly bathing and maybe daily medication management, help in the morning to get up or to go to bed at night. It's the least costly, but sometimes unreliable and very difficult to get these home care services. Believe it or not, there's approximately 20,000 people on the waiting list to get home care services through the CLSC right now. It's slowly improving, but hey, it's 100% increase over the last 4 years. So what others do will do private home care. Many private home care companies, like my own Premier Home Care, going rate for private home care companies are in the $34 to $40 an hour range. It's expensive. Labor is expensive. There will be, the good thing in Quebec, a 38% tax credit, but count on a net cost out of pocket in the low 20s if you were to go to private home care. Now, if it gets to a point of, we can't do it at home anymore, we have to look at a transition. We have our public system. I'm very quickly going to give some rates of what you can expect to pay both in public and private, if you can get in. Long waiting lists for public residences. These are long-term care homes. Plan on a good wait of 1 to 2, even 3 years to get in. 4,500 people on the waiting list today in Quebec. But if you are able to get in, the costs for an individual private room is about $2,000. In fact, $2,140 per month, all in, everything, meals, care, medication management, and so on. It can get quite expensive if you do it privately. Independent living as low as $1,500 a month, but it can get up there for heavy-duty long-term care, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, even $10,000 a month. So, you want to be able to do your homework. Talk to your financial planner. Try to do that 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan. The cost of aging is getting up there, but it's important. Better to plan for the future, so there are no surprises, because we cannot rely on our public system moving forward. It's there, but it is stretched to the limit. So hopefully this helped you out a little bit with the cost of aging here on Life Unrehearsed.